Today, we're diving into the enigmatic Dark Ages, a period often misunderstood, but full of historical gems. But before we embark on this journey, let's paint a picture. The term Dark Ages might evoke images of epic adventures and noble knights, but the reality is more medieval. Think trading your smartphone for a quill, Uber for a trusty steed, and Netflix for a front row seat to danger and diseases. So, buckle up, hit that like button, subscribe for more historical insights, and get ready to discover why surviving the Dark Ages was anything but a leisurely stroll in the park. Overview of the Dark Ages, explained with a dash of medieval humor. The Dark Ages label may sound catchy, but historians are debunking it faster than you can say medieval manuscript. Calling it the Dark Ages oversimplifies things. Monasteries were bustling hubs of learning, not just places for prayer. They kickstarted the Carolingian Renaissance by meticulously copying ancient texts. Economically, there were shifts. Long-distance trade dipped, but local economies flourished. Innovations like the heavy plow and the three-field system boosted agriculture, keeping feudal lords well-stocked with grain and ale, and the art scene thriving. Styles like Carolingian and Ottonian paved the way for Romanesque and Gothic art, with creativity abound in illuminated manuscripts and stained glass. But the biggest lesson, don't judge history with modern goggles. The Dark Ages term overlooks the amazing stuff happening elsewhere and ignores the complexity and innovation of the time. So, next time you think of the Dark Ages, remember, it wasn't all darkness and dragons. It was a time of complexity, innovation, and a fair bit of medieval pizza. Communication barriers navigating the medieval meme scrolls. In the Dark Ages, communication was trickier than texting a knight in shining armor or sending a carrier pigeon. With power scattered like confetti at a jousting tournament, organizing anything felt like herding cats. Long-distance trade declined, leaving ideas stuck in local bubbles like a Renaissance fair that never left town. Plus, literacy wasn't common, making spreading the word as hard as pulling Excalibur from the stone. And, with evolving languages, conversations felt like deciphering a dragon's roar. But these hurdles birthed cool stuff. Local cultures thrived, with epic tales and oral traditions acting like medieval Wi-Fi. So, summing it up, communicating in the Dark Ages was like tweeting in Morse code while riding a horse through a linguistic obstacle course. Medieval hashtag, your communication quest. Limited travel and hazards of the road, a medieval road trip comedy. In the Middle Ages, road trips were more survival marathon than adventure. Picture rough roads, rougher than a dragon's scales, and accommodations scarcer than common sense in a medieval meme. Travel wasn't knightly, most stuck close to home, and venturing out was perilous. Hazards lurked everywhere. Rare and pricey accommodations, outdoor sleeping with risks from weather and bandits, and roads like Russian roulette with drownings. So, next time you grumble about a delayed flight, remember, at least you're not navigating a medieval road trip with a parchment map. Forced military service with limited rewards, when duty calls and takes your wallet. Welcome to medieval Tinder, where swiping right meant picking up a sword, not a bouquet. Forced military service was like a surprise party no one wanted, with nobles playing matchmakers and peasants swiping left for freedom. In this feudal setup, peasants were at the mercy of nobles who could draft them into military service at any moment, turning their peaceful days into chaotic campaigns. Ill-equipped and poorly trained, drafted peasants faced the grim reality of military life, often lacking proper gear and training. Disease, hunger, and thirst were constant companions in unsanitary camps, where soldiers risked their lives not just in combat, but also in the squalor of their surroundings. Refusal to serve meant risking everything, highlighting the rigid hierarchy of medieval society, where peasants bore the brunt of war while the nobility held all the power. Challenges of city life, the urban jungle of the Middle Ages. Welcome to the medieval metropolis, where the cityscape was shakier than a wooden roller coaster, and the hustle and bustle felt like a chaotic mosh pit. Sanitation was a wild concept, with rivers doubling as sewage drains and water sources. Life wasn't glamorous. Diseases lurked around every corner, turning cities into death traps during outbreaks like the Black Death. Despite the risks, cities offered allure with taverns and entertainment, though stepping out after curfew was like playing Russian roulette. For the poor, life was a mix of poverty and danger, with taverns doubling as dens of debauchery. Yet, amidst the chaos, there were opportunities, with private bathhouses offering luxury and women breaking away from traditional roles to join trades. In essence, medieval city life was a blend of challenges and chances, with residents navigating a perilous landscape filled with disease and poverty, yet occasionally finding a glimmer of hope for a better life. Pressure to perform in relationships. The medieval love dilemma. Love in the Middle Ages was no fairy tale. It was more like navigating a labyrinth of societal expectations where even courtship felt like a duty tax. Men faced immense pressure to perform sexually and produce heirs to continue the family line, with impotence risking severe consequences, including divorce. In medieval France, men endured humiliating impotence trials to prove their potency, adding public scrutiny to the pressure. This burden wasn't exclusive to the wealthy. Everyday folks felt it too, with infertility often blamed on the male partner. In essence, medieval love wasn't just about romance. It was a high-stakes game where failure could lead to public humiliation and personal consequences. Harsh realities of apprenticeships. The medieval internship horror show. Medieval apprenticeships were far from the magical journey one might expect. Instead, they resembled a grueling boot camp with extra beatings. Apprentices endured long hours, no pay, and meager rations, facing beatings as commonplace as a knight's armor. Stuck in a limbo between childhood and adulthood, apprentices rebelled, seeking solace in pubs or brothels, and even forming gangs. These apprenticeships weren't just about learning a trade, they were about enduring exploitation and abuse disguised as education. It was indeed a tough lesson in the school of hard knocks. Influence of the Catholic Church, holy drama in the medieval soap opera. During the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church wielded authority like a sword in a theological battle, influencing every aspect of society from spiritual matters to secular governance. Defined by the rule of Saint Benedict, the Church asserted dominance, punishing dissenters with floggings or worse. Different Christian interpretations clashed, leading to brutal crackdowns on dissenters like the Paulicians, highlighting the Church's ruthless response to deviation from its doctrines. Attempting to define one's faith independently was akin to playing with fire in this medieval drama, shaped by the Church's iron grip on theology through a mix of authority and coercion. A pandemic party that lasted centuries. During the Dark Ages, Justinian's plague, a deadly disease similar to the Black Death, caused chaos for centuries and resulted in the deaths of millions. Emperor Justinian. I probably didn't expect this kind of excitement, as the plague brought nothing but despair. Factors like cold weather and trade helped the disease spread rapidly, wiping out populations with symptoms resembling those of the Black Death. Recent studies have revealed that the bacteria responsible were closely related, underscoring the tragedy of a disease that went untreated due to the absence of antibiotics. Justinian's plague serves as a chilling reminder of how pandemics can profoundly impact human civilization, leaving a lasting mark on history as a cautionary tale of destruction. Disastrous events of the Dark Ages, when the world went full catastrophe. In the Dark Ages, calamities made 2020 look like a garden party. In 536, volcanic eruptions plunged the world into darkness for 18 months, worsening the Justinian plague's woes. Validated by tree ring data, this period, dubbed the Late Antique Little Ice Age, was one of the toughest. The 12th century brought plummeting temperatures and a 15% mortality rate in England due to the Little Ice Age. Prolonged rainfall from 1315 to 1322 caused floods, crop failures, and famine. Professor Brian Fagan highlights weather's profound impact, from bread riots to the rise of despotic leaders and even witch hunts, as communities sought supernatural explanations for their plight. Taxation, the medieval wallet woes. Medieval taxes were like a wild roller coaster ride, with peasants at the mercy of unpredictable lords. Unlike today, taxation lacked consistency, leaving peasants navigating a chaotic landscape. Lords enjoyed exemptions while peasants faced irregular incomes, subject to unpredictable tax rates. Lords could whimsically adjust taxes, leading to stress and revolt. Peasant uprisings like the Swedish Revolt of 1434 pressured nobles to reconsider their demands, underscoring the tension between tax collectors and the burdened populace. Deadly bread. When your daily loaf packs a punch, in the Dark and Middle Ages, even your humble loaf of bread could harbor a deadly plot twist. Imagine enjoying your daily medieval sandwich, blissfully unaware of the peril within. St. Anthony's fire, a dreaded malady, plagued Europe, causing burning sensations, hallucinations, and necrotic limbs. Outbreaks like the one in 994 France left 40,000 dead and scenes of unbearable suffering. The true culprit? Ergot fungus, disrupting blood supply and causing devastation. Its effects on both humans and livestock perpetuated a cycle of suffering, adding a deadly twist to the daily bread of medieval life. Widespread lead exposure, unintentional poisoning in the lap of luxury. In medieval Europe, luxury was tainted by a silent toxicity, lead. The elite, oblivious, sipped from lead-glazed pottery and collected rooftop water, unaware of the danger. A study revealed alarming lead levels in the wealthy's remains. Even ancient Romans added lead to drinks, sweetening them with sugar of lead, unknowingly poisoning themselves. In the lap of luxury, lead poisoning was an unexpected and deadly guest, tarnishing medieval opulence with a toxic shadow. Deadly medical practices. Medicine or misery? In the Dark Ages, medical practices were akin to playing Russian roulette, with bloodletting as a risky gamble. Imagine your medieval doctor prescribing bloodletting for every ailment, from epilepsy to the plague, but, spoiler alert, it's no cure. Rooted in ancient superstitions, bloodletting became alarmingly prevalent, with tools puncturing arteries. Despite good intentions, this medieval intervention claimed more lives than it saved, with patients often losing consciousness as a grim measure of success. Infections compounded the dangers in an era without antibiotics. What was meant to heal often became a tragic death sentence, highlighting the perilous nature of medieval medical practices. The Restless Afterlife, a comedic exploration of post-mortem woes in the Dark Ages. In the Dark Ages, reaching 50 was like hitting the retirement age, except retirement didn't exist. You were expected to work until your body begged for mercy. Death was often seen as the only escape from the relentless grind. But even in death, tranquility was hard to come by. Grave disturbances were common, with 40% of graves facing disturbance, often driven by theft of personal belongings buried with the deceased. Some graves revealed bodies bound and gagged, rooted in superstitions about restless souls or the undead rising. History isn't just about battles and castles. It's a quirky tapestry of human experience. If you enjoyed this journey through medieval misconceptions, drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe for more historical hilarity. Until our next adventure, may your knowledge shine as brightly as a medieval torch in the night. Oh, what happened back there? Let's run it back. And action. Calling it the Dark Ages oversimplifies things. Monasteries were bustling hubs of learning, not just places for prayer. They kick-started the Carolingian Renaissance by, hello. I mean, you can take it outside if you want. Nah.
Get out!